Hi guys, I'm Dr. Donald Pelto. I'm a full-time podiatrist in Worcester, Massachusetts. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery, where I help other podiatrists develop successful principles and skills in their private practice.
Hey guys, Don here. Welcome to the weekly update with Podiatry Practice Mastery. I'm recording from home today. I'm working on getting a new green screen. It hasn't arrived yet, but I'm worried about my green scrubs if it'll show up with the green screen. I want to talk a little bit today about a funny experience we had, and it involves an idea called price anchoring. I first heard about this idea in a book called Influence. So if you're interested in this book, you can just Google it, Influence. It's kind of on the psychology of helping people make decisions or influencing people or stuff like that. He's kind of a sales guy / marketing guy, but he's actually a PhD that talks about this. So the whole idea came up as we were arguing in our practice about our beloved Good Feet store that we have in town. So I have one of my buddies. He says he's a little salty when it comes to it, because we have patients, at least once a week, that come in and they've been to the Good Feet store, which is nearby. We have 2 offices, so it's right in the middle of both offices. And they come in and they may have tried the Good Feet inserts, and they kind of say that they're custom, and they're really not custom. I think we all know that. They're over-the-counter inserts that they get, and they don't have any refunds. But I was thinking, well, how can we make that as a benefit to us? Because everyone knows about the Good Feet store. So my buddy, he had an idea. He said, Don, you know what we should do? We should go and buy one of these magnets and say, we'll do a real custom orthotics for you. Just scan the QR code to make an appointment. We'll do real ones for you for half the price of the Good Feet store, and we'll have one of the neighboring businesses in the strip mall put that on their car. I didn't think that was a good idea, so here's another idea. So it's the idea of price anchoring. So let us say that the Good Feet store, let's say they charge $2,000. And I think they get like a regular pair and maybe like a dress pair, and I think they get a pair of shoes as well. And they're charging $2,000. So the way I've been explaining orthotics is you want to anchor our price to their price. So let me give you an example. So I heard in a story recently, someone was going to go and they got a Groupon to get 2 shirts for like $50 at this really nice store. So they had this Groupon, they're going to get 2 shirts, $50. So when they went to the store, a really high-end store, the salesperson, they took them, first of all, by the suit section. And they weren't interested in getting suits, they were just interested in getting their 2 shirts. But they brought them to the suit section first. And they showed them the $500 suits, and then up to the $12,000 suits. And then they went over to the shirt section, and so by the time he got his 2 shirts that were included, plus 2 more. So he spent another couple $100, but he was already anchored to that like $1,200 or $1,500 suit price. Does that make sense? So how can we do this in podiatry? So one of the things that we want to anchor to would be for orthotics. Let's use this as an example. So the way I tend to explain orthotics, I use my patient presentations. So if you're not familiar with those, go to patientpresentations.com. You can look at the one I do on plantar fasciitis. So I'm explaining orthotics. I'm not going to explain like how to treat plantar fasciitis, and let's talk about orthotics. So with orthotics, I always say my patients have 3 questions about orthotics. And this is just the same way I explain it every time. I say, first they want to know how long do they last? And I say they last 5 years or longer. Okay. And so that kind of gives me a reason when someone comes in with these really old orthotics that I say, well, they usually last 5 years or longer, so it's time for us to get you a new pair. So that's number for the orthotics, 5 years or longer. The second question they ask me is how long do they take to make, and I usually say they take 2 to 3 weeks to make. And I sometimes use the example. It's kind of like when you're making glasses, it does take some time because we have to do a prescription for you and make a specific size. So they're kind of almost anchored on the prescription eyeglasses, meaning you have to pay for those. Those are expensive. But that's not the real anchor I want to get to. Then the third question is, my patients always ask me, how come they're not covered by insurance? And this is the one where I use the Good Feet store. So I say the third question is, they always ask me, how come insurance doesn't cover that? Now that's in Massachusetts where I'm at. And I say, the insurance doesn't cover them, but if you go to the Good Feet store, they're gonna cost you $2,000. And I just pause. And so when I pause, you're like, oh my goodness, $2,000, are these gonna cost me $2,000? And I say, but ours aren't, and they're not even custom orthotics. They're not made specifically for you. But ours don't cost $2,000. Ours cost, the expense for ours are $600. And so when you do Good Feet costs $2,000, you're anchoring them to the $2,000, and then you're bringing them down to the price of the $600. Okay, and then I say, and so then we can get you started on that. And so that's how I use it now for price anchoring. I would love to know if you have any other ideas of how you could price anchor other things. I thought about, like, if there's a way we could price anchor an amnio injection or shockwave. I don't tend to price anchor those because I don't have a great comparison. I guess you could say, like, being off of work 6 to 8 weeks with the surgery or something else like that. I haven't figured out a great one. So if you have one, let me know. Once again, I hope you guys found this beneficial. If you did, please subscribe, like this video, put any comments underneath it. I'll try to do a future video on one of your comments. Okay, thanks.